Okay. So I think when we were doing sessions, we tried to migrate a column level encrypted database to Azure SQL, and uh, we didn't do that for some reason. I mean, we tried and we realized that there is something that we need to carry out. And I told in that session that I will be continuing that uh, perhaps in our upcoming session. So that is what we are doing it today. So this is just the continuation of my previous session on how to move a encrypted column level encrypted database from on-premises to Azure SQL. Okay. So let me start. I will start from the scratch and I will show you some few important things. Um, Without doing this, it's not working. So that is what that really amazed me. I will show you step by step and then I'll show you the things that you need to be aware of. Okay. Um, just give me a second. Okay, so I will start from the scratch, um, and I will show you like the steps that are involved. So you can do the same thing. Okay, so let me create a new database. Demo on-prem. So this is a new database. I need to migrate this database from on-premises to Azure SQL. And this database will be having column level encryption. So don't get confused with column level encryption and TDE. Both are two different things. We already discussed that, but I'm just letting you know again. If you want, I can show you. So there are two fields within this databases. Okay. One is encrypted and the other one is column level encryption. So that you can find by column by name is master encrypted by server. So if you run this query and if you see something as one here, it means this is TDE. Okay. This column is encrypted refers to TDE and the other one refers to column level encryption. Okay. So don't get confused. Both are completely different. By default, I think I already explained this, but I'm just letting you know, just adding the, just recollecting the previous session information. SSIS-DB will be having column level encryption by default. Okay, by default, if you just create SSIS-DB, you will see is master key encrypted by server, which is nothing but column level encryption by default on SSIS-DB. For user databases, you need to create that. Okay, so TDE is different, column level encryption is different. Both are completely different.
So, Vamsi, I just wanted to ask you, which
Mhm.
one is better, the column encryption or the DDE? Which one is better than doing the for the
T-
encryption?
TDE is we are encrypting the data at rest, means we are encrypting the data of data files and our backup files, right? I mean, if someone gets our MDF files or LDF files, okay. So if he is trying to attach that files, it won't work without certificate and private key, right? So that is
Yes, yes.
TDE. That is TDE. TDE is about encryption at rest. Whereas column level encryption, it is there from 2005. Also, I mean, just to let you know, TD is there from 2008, right? If I'm not wrong, TD is there from 2008, whereas column level encryption is there from 2005. Column level encryption means we are encrypting the data, sensitive information inside the table. So this is within the table. So it is just for few tables. If you ask me, if you're having some sensitive information, say for example, salary or SSN or credit card, whatever it is. So if you would like to encrypt that information, so that is within the table, right? It is not entirely across all the tables, or it is not entirely across the database. So it is just retained with particular table. Okay, it could be any of the tables. So if you are playing with few tables, if you wanted to encrypt only few columns inside those tables, then that is column level encryption. For instance, if I get a backup of that database, okay, I'm not having TD, just imagine the situation. So
Yeah, no
Uh,
problem.
yeah, so I don't have TDE, but I got the
Okay.
backup of this database, like the one what we are testing. For example, on the top you can see test 25. So imagine you are backing up this database and you are trying to restore. So restore will happen without any problem. There is nothing that will stop you from restoring this database. But if you are trying to access that encrypted information, you will not be able to see that information. I mean, if you wanted to decrypt, you need to have certain information with you. Without that information, you can't do anything. So let me show you that. Just because some people will try to unnot. What is this one called as unknown? What is? Let me see this. Annotators. I don't know. I mean, they will try to draw something on this, so it is not good thing. So I'm just disabling that. Did you get my point? Someone was asking me this question.
Yeah, yeah, I understood that. So in my case, it's like we have a third-party encryption, that is Thales, that we are using on
That,
the TD side.
that
We
is
are not
different.
using the
That
backup.
I mean,
Yeah.
if very simple. If you get the backup of your database that is not being encrypted, I mean, if it is not
Yeah,
TD enabled database and you are just having column level encryption, it won't stop you from restoring. You can restore that
yeah,
database happily.
yeah,
But
yeah, that's true.
yeah, but when you're accessing the data inside it, then you can't. So I will show you
Okay,
now.
okay,
Just you will get to know
sure.
in few minutes.
Thank you.
So no problem. I think what was my last session? Let me check the YouTube. Anyways, so let it be. So we'll continue with the session. I just created a new database, right? So I think what is the tech data? Yeah, I just created this new database demo on-prem. We don't have anything. This is just a plain database what I just created. So I'm trying to create a table, and I'm having, if you see here, I'm having account number. Just imagine this is bank account number, and no one should be able to view my account number. It has to get encrypted. Okay. So that is the requirement what I got. So if I implement TDE, then can I encrypt this data?
No.
No, because as I said, TDE is nothing to do with your data. TD is only related to your data files and log files, I mean backup files. Means if someone gets your backup file or if someone gets your data files, they cannot restore or they cannot attach it. That's it. That's the only thing. That's what TD is all about. It protects your uh, backup files and your data files. That's it. It won't protect anything inside your tables. There is nothing to do with it. If you want something inside with the data, then we have column level encryption from 2005, and from 2016 we have three different flavors. That is row level security. In simple terms, they call it as RLS, and we have something called as DMM, dynamic DDM, sorry, dynamic data masking (DDM), and we have always encrypted. So those three things again are related to data. Okay, so that is different. This is different. TD is different. Just a second. Miss Finn. Okay, I just muted. Okay, let's start our session. So this is our table. I'm just going to create a table and I'm inserting some data. Okay, so before creating column level encryption, I should have something called as database master key. It has to be there. Without creating database master key, you cannot encrypt your data. You should have your database master key. So that is the second step. Of course, these steps will be done by developers or maybe by DBAs. It depends upon your environment, but I'm showing you step by step. If your company is not doing this, it's up to you. Like most of the steps, what I'm showing, these three will be done by DBA, and the table creation and everything will be done by developers. So I just created the master key, database master key, and I'm going to create a certificate. Oh, see, if I wanted to create a certificate, I should have master key. Okay, so that is why I said we should have master key before creating the certificate. So I'm creating the database master key. Then the second step is to create the certificate. So this is self-signed certificate. We are not using any third-party certificates here. This is within the SQL server. This is good enough to protect our data. Okay, this is done. And I'm going to create symmetric key. Watch it very carefully. Usually, when you are creating the symmetric key, we don't need this field, identity value and key source. But in this example, we need identity value and key source when you are migrating the database from on-premises to Azure SQL when we have column level encryption. I will talk about this, but the moment I'm just, commenting this. Okay. I'm just creating as is. I mean, just like the regular way of creating the symmetric key. So if you ask me what is a regular syntax to create a symmetric key, this is the one. Create symmetric key with algorithm encryption by certificate. The certificate what you created. So I am commenting this line just to prove something. Okay. So I'm just commenting this line. This is not required in general. This is not required in general. Okay. So I am creating this symmetric key. Done. And now I am opening that symmetric key and then encrypting our data. So I would like to encrypt my account numbers. So for that, I'm using this function, encrypt by key. So I'm doing something. So I got the encrypted text. Okay. So finally, I'm just checking if I'm able to decrypt that information. So we have two functions here, encrypt by key and decrypt by key. If you ask me who needs to perform these kind of steps, so it will be done by developers. You need not worry about it. Your task as a DBA is to create the master key, to create the certificate, and to create the symmetric key. These are the three steps that should be done from DBA side. Once you create them, the developers will continue with their work in general. But it may vary from company to company, but I'm showing you all the steps. Okay, so since I got the encrypted information, I'm going to drop the account number, the plain account number column. So I'm just dropping that column. So now finally, this is how my table looks. So I have ID, identity field, and then encrypted text. Encrypted text is nothing but our account numbers. So if someone gets the backup of my database, and if they are trying to perform select query, this is how the data looks for them. So it is ID and encrypted text. So information is already encrypted. If they wanted to decrypt, then they have to open the master key. First of all, they have to open the master key. So if they are not aware of the master key, then it is not possible to open that information. Okay. So any questions till now?
So, in one table, how many columns can we encrypt?
In one table, how many columns can we encrypt? I think the maximum, I don't know the exact number, but you can encrypt multiple columns using the same key. I'm not sure with the number, but you can
Okay,
use,
no problem.
yeah, you can use the same certificate and key to protect your data.
Okay,
I'll
done.
check that part. No problem. Thanks for your question. So yeah, so this is how the data looks. Now my task is to migrate this database to Azure SQL. Okay. So I have something called as column level encryption, and I need to migrate this database to Azure SQL. So that is my requirement. Okay. The biggest challenge with Azure SQL is Azure SQL doesn't support file system and it doesn't contain any operating system, right? So it is platform as a service world. So how can I move my certificate and symmetric key to Azure SQL? So that is the challenge what we have in front of us. You got the problem because first you have to understand the problem. The problem with moving the encrypted information from on-premises to Azure SQL is Azure SQL doesn't support what is that file system. So where will you store that certificate and private key then, right? So that is where the challenge pops up. So now as a DBA, you should be migrating your database. So one more challenge is, as you know, Azure SQL doesn't support backup and restore. So if I take the .bak and if I try to restore it on Azure SQL, it won't work. So how should I copy the data from on-premises to Azure SQL? That is the next
Using
challenge.
block, using block storage.
Let's try to do the techniques what you are aware of and see if that works for us. Okay. So
That's
the
good.
first thing is we can make use of backpack, right? Backpack, backpack. So let's try to give a shot with backpack because we just have three rows, right? We can make use of backpack. If it is having many rows, I don't recommend backpack, but since we are just testing, we can go with backpack because backpack is a combination of data and what is it? Structure, I can say.
Schema.
Schema,
Schema.
yeah, data and schema. So let me go and go with the task. So you can see there is something called as export and extract. So if I go with export, so this is nothing but your backpack. Okay, backpack. You can see export is tied up with backpack. Backpack means you will get the data as well. So I'm just trying to do that. So before I do, I would like to create a new database, a dummy database. I mean, dummy in the sense like Azure SQL database. So let me create one more database. Um, Performance tuning database server name. I'll say Azure Demo DB. Okay, so I already have the logical server. I'm using the same logical server. This is just for testing, so I just need 1 GB of space, and the minimum V cores are good enough. So that's it. So I'm going to create that now. So once it gets created, I need to move this database from on-premises to this one, like AZ on-prem I'm going to create. So it takes perhaps a couple of seconds. So let's wait for it. Are you getting the problem, guys? So our task is to move the column level encrypted database. And there are few interesting things what I noticed. I will explain that once we complete the steps, all the steps. And since we are doing this, okay, so in my last class, I told you that we can create linked server from on-premises to Azure SQL, and we can insert data from on-premises server to Azure SQL, right? I told you this. And I was asking a question. I think I asked a question like it is related to creation of linked servers, right? So when you are creating the linked server, okay, so I will show you this. Let me show you the script of this. So you have to create the catalog also. Catalog is nothing but your database name. So just imagine a situation. The problem with linked servers. I mean, there are few advantages with linked servers. You can make use of it. Okay. But I will also explain the problems that comes up with linked servers. Imagine you need to drive 5 databases migration from on-premises to Azure SQL. Okay. 5 databases. For example, Stack Overflow 2010, 2013, worldwide importers, and AdventureWorks. So just imagine 4 or 5 databases. If I wanted to make use of Azure SQL, sorry, if I wanted to make use of linked servers to migrate my databases from on-premises to Azure SQL, the problem with linked server is you cannot create one linked server. You have to create uh, 5 linked servers. If you wanted to move 5 databases, you have to create linked server for each and every database when the target is Azure SQL. You got my point? Just imagine if there are 100 databases, so then you have to create 100 linked servers because each and every database is unique for Azure SQL. It is not instance as a service, unlike our managed instance. Okay, so you cannot create linked server for the entire instance. This is just a logical server. So you have to create linked server for each and every database if you wanted to migrate the databases from on-prem to Azure SQL using linked server. So that is the challenge. Did you get that? I mean, did you understand what I'm saying? I,
Yes.
so that is the downside of using linked server. Linked server you can use to push the data from on-premises to Azure SQL. But if you would like to migrate multiple databases using linked server, then you have to create different linked servers for each and every database. So if I have to migrate 5 databases, then I have to create 5 linked servers. So that is the problem. So, okay, I just created the database. So let's try to, so this is our target database, AZ demo DB, and our source database is demo on-prem. Okay, so now let's try to migrate the database. So if you see here, it is asking me for the tables exclusion. Backpack will give you an option to exclude few tables if you want. But since this is just testing, we are just going with one table. So I need everything. Okay, I'm saving to local disk. All you can save to storage account. It's your choice. For the moment, I'm using local disk. Let me keep this somewhere. So I will say C colon SQL, and then I'll say uh, test next, and then I'm clicking on finish. So the problem, now you will see the problem. So it is trying to extract the database that contains column level encryption. So the question is, will it allow us to extract the database or not? Even I didn't try this. Let's see. Okay, it failed. It failed. So if backpack fails, obviously backpack also fails. You don't need to test backpack again because backpack is the combination of data and schema. What it is saying, it is trying to get the certificate. Since you have the certificate, I cannot do this. Since you have the symmetric key, I cannot do this because certificate is not supported on Microsoft Azure SQL database, and the same goes with symmetric key as well. Okay, so what is this V12? Just for beginners, I mean, who are not aware of Azure SQL. So what is this V12? Does it mean Azure SQL always supports 2014 compatibility level, or what is that? V12 means version 12, right? I mean, V12, 11, 11 goes with 2012, 12 goes with 2014, 13, 2016, like that we have compatibility level, right? So does it mean 2014?
No.
So don't get confused with with that number, because that comes up naturally when you are doing some kind of activity in Azure SQL. Azure SQL and Azure MI both are platform as a service categories. I mean flavors, and they don't have any versions. Okay, unlike on-prem or IaaS, PaaS world, PaaS, when I say PaaS, both managed instance and Azure SQL, they don't have any versions. Means 2025, 2022, 2019, there is nothing like that. So they are treated as versionless. Okay, versionless. Azure SQL and Azure MI. If someone is asking about the version of your Azure SQL or Azure MI in interviews, or maybe in any other case, the answer from your side is they are versionless. So don't get confused with V12. Okay. So now you got my problem. I need to migrate the data from on-prem to Azure SQL, but because of my certificate and symmetric key, it is not allowing me to carry out backpack or DAGpack. So what else we have to migrate our database? What are the different options?
First decrypt and then take the backup and then move it.
Certificate will be there. Okay, certificate symmetric key. So imagine, bro, I have to tell you very important thing. Since you are migrating the account numbers from on-prem to Azure SQL, okay, that certificate and that symmetric key should be there on Azure SQL as well, right? Because you are protecting your data. So you cannot, just unprotect your data. I mean to say, you decrypt your data and then just throw it onto Azure SQL. That is not the right way, right? You should protect your data. Means you have to protect your certificate and symmetric key along with that. I cannot expose my account numbers or SSNs or credit card numbers, whatever it is. Definitely, I need certificate and symmetric key. But how to migrate my certificate and symmetric key? That is the challenge what we have, right?
Data Studio.
Let's give a try with Data Studio. So I didn't try with Data Studio. Let's give a try. Will it allow us or not? Let's check that part. The things what I am showing you is not there on the entire internet, guys. There is no single video on this topic. Okay, I'm not self-posting because I'm working behind the scenes for you. So I know the pain that is involved with this kind of databases. So that is the reason I'm saying don't ignore these sessions, because if you are having any column level encryption databases, and if they are asking you to migrate to Azure SQL, then you will get to know the real pain. Okay, let me connect and I will show you. Let's give a try with Azure Data Studio. Will it help here or not? Because backpack, both are failing. Will take some time. Okay, I think it is connected now. So I need to move uh, this database, demo on-prem, right? So let me click on manage. And let me choose Azure SQL migration. It's a new project, so I'm clicking on new migration. Start a new session. So mine is, I don't know why it is picking up this location and the resource group, but it's fine. So I need to move the database demo on-prem. So I'm choosing that, clicking on next. Okay, so that is the reason. So they added this new type. Do you want to track the migration process in Azure portal? So this is a new thing what they introduced recently, and you have to choose the source infrastructure. Means source. What is the source? Is it Kubernetes or is it virtual machine, AWS, or is it Azure virtual machine or your on-prem GCP? Everything is there. So if you wanted to track that, you have to say yes. If you don't want, you can say no. For the moment, I don't need that, so I'm saying no. But in real time, if you want, you have to choose the right infrastructure, source infrastructure, I mean to say. Okay. So this option was not there. They introduced it recently, perhaps maybe a couple of months back, because I noticed this very recently. It was not there before. So I'm clicking on no, and I'm going with demo on-prem. Click on next. So let's see the assessment and see what happens. Because I didn't try this, so let's give it a try. Hmm. So assessment is saying our database is ready to go for Azure SQL. It's not complaining about symmetric key and certificate. It's saying we are perfectly fine. Okay, let it be. So let's choose our Azure SQL database. So it is talking about the trace flags what I have on the server. So that is nothing related to our database. Server scope credentials, nothing related to our database. Agent jobs is nothing related to our database. So these are just warnings. These are not errors. So it won't stop you. It is saying you are good to go. So I'm clicking on next. So I'm trying to load my database. So this is my server, Azure SQL server. And let me enter my password. Mm, Yeah, so demo on-prem and my target database is AZ demo DB. Okay, clicking on next. It has to choose a database migration service. I already have that, so it is picking up that one. If you don't have, you have to create a new one. I think we discussed this in our previous sessions recently only. So you can watch that if you want what needs to be done. So demo on-prem is the database, AZ demo DB is the target. So I have to choose the tables. It's filtering now. So it is saying available on target, and the target I don't have any databases. So and the source we have user data. So I have to choose that one, and I'm clicking on update. Okay, so I have one table. So I have to click on validation. It will perform some validation. So it is failing here, failed one error. Why it is failing? Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't enter the password here. Let me enter the password. Okay, it is done now. You can see all the three check marks were completed. So it is saying okay. So next, click on next. And now we are migrating the database from on-prem to Azure SQL. So you can monitor the migration from the portal or from here. If you click on this, so it is saying it's in progress, means migration status is in creation state. So it is trying to create the data for you. So the migration type is schema and data, both the table structure and um, what is that data will come to you naturally. So let's wait for it and we'll see what happens. But it will take a lot of time. I think it will take perhaps 3 or 4 minutes, even though there are three rows, because it has to create so many things internally. So this method will take a lot of time. So compared to this, I feel linked server is far more easier and faster compared to carrying out this from database migration service. I mean DMS or Azure Data Studio. So let's wait for it. In the meanwhile, if you have any questions, let me know, or else I'll just take one more Small topic, just to create that curiosity. Any questions with this topic?
No, in the fifth step itself, we can export the keys, right?
No, it didn't give us any option to export the keys, right? If you remember, this is not TD. Again, I'm saying this is not TD. This is column level encryption. So it doesn't know anything about column level encryption. Azure Data Studio, it doesn't know anything. It will just migrate my rows. You will get to know shortly. It will just migrate those 3 rows and it will create the table for you, but it won't copy your symmetric key and certificate.
Okay.
That is the challenge. So it is in progress now. It will take probably another 2 or 3 minutes if I'm not wrong. So currently it is 35 seconds. Even though that is just 3 rows, it will take some time. Okay, so let it run. But related to this topic, if you have any questions, let me know.
So if you want to see the encryption key on the database server, where will be able to see it?
If you wanted to see encryption,
Key. If we have done the
encryption
column,
keys,
yeah,
encryption keys. Okay,
yeah.
encryption keys. When you say about encryption key, okay, first you have to understand the hierarchy. Okay, let me show you that. SQL Server. So this is what we are doing right now. So we have encrypted data, which is our account numbers, and this is being protected by symmetric key. Okay, and this symmetric key is being protected by certificate, and this certificate is being protected by database master key. So this is the hierarchy. So now your question is, what are the keys, right? I mean, which key? Is it database master key or is it symmetric key? What is that exactly?
Yeah, so going it, we have to go the upside down, right? First, you will go on the encryption data key, then symmetric key, then the certificate, and then it will go up, right? It will be opposite way, right?
So I'm talking about the hierarchy. At the very top, we have something called as service master key, SMK. It's called as service master key, and there will be only one service master key for the entire instance. You cannot create multiple SMKs. Okay.
Okay.
So at the top, there is something called as SMK. And after SMK, inside the user database, we have created this one, database master key, right? If you remember,
Yeah, yeah.
I will show you step by step, no worries. So this is database master key. And then after database master key, we created certificate. And
Yeah,
after
perfect.
certificate, we created symmetric key. So let's go with that hierarchy. So at the top, we have service master key. I don't need to create that. It comes naturally once you install SQL Server. So we created
Okay.
database master key, first step, and then we created certificate, second step, and then we
Okay.
created symmetric key, third step, and then finally we
Yeah.
encrypted the data using functions like encrypt by key is the function what we made use of to encrypt our data.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is how the encryption goes. And finally, we have the encrypted data. That is nothing but our account numbers. So now
So
you
if we
are,
go with
yeah,
decryption key, if we go for the decryption key, it will go on the reversal side, right? It will go from the
reverse side. So if you wanted to decrypt the data, so this is how I decrypt the data. First, you have to open the symmetric key. Okay,
okay.
open the symmetric key and then decrypt by certificate. Okay, decrypt by
Okay.
certificate means you are using two things here. This is the encrypted information. So to see this encrypted data, I need to open this
Yeah.
symmetric key and then I
Okay.
need to decrypt that information with my certificate.
Certificate.
So these
Okay.
two comes into picture. And then you have to use
Okay.
functions like decrypt by key. This is the function that I need to make use of
Gatledu.
to decrypt the
Okay.
information. Okay.
And
So, oh my God, it's still in progress. As I said, it will take 3 or 4 minutes. That is why I hate this method, but still somebody was asking this, right? So I'm just showing you. It won't get you your symmetric keys and certificates. Anyways, just let's wait for it to complete. So it is already 5 minutes now, close to 5 minutes, but still it is still running and it is still showing in progress. Let's wait for it to finish. Yeah, any questions with this topic? If not, I'll show you some small interesting topic on performance tuning. Not to waste time. That is the reason.
So while doing assessment, it will show like
No,
this is the column
no,
level.
no, it is
No?
not showing. Inside
Okay.
the assessment phase, it is not at all showing. It's not talking anything related to column level encryption. That is the problem.
So database level encryption it will show, right?
TDE it will show. Yes.
Okay.
TDE it will show because it says you have TDE and you need to take care of that. That is different. This is column level encryption. Why I'm talking about column level encryption? Because if you work for banking domain or if you work for just a second, I'm getting a lot of noise. Okay. Okay. Because if you work for any banking domain or any industrial sectors like insurance or something like that, so you have to store some sensitive information, right? So if you have sensitive information and if you are on the older versions, anything less than 2016, the only way to protect your data is column level encryption. At least from 2016, we have dynamic data masking and row level security and always encrypted. That is there. That is different story. But if you have any databases less than 2016 version, and if you wanted to migrate those databases to Azure SQL, then this is the thing that you need to be aware of. Okay, it's 6.5 minutes, and just to move 3 rows, it is still okay. It looks like it is done. Let's wait for it. Okay, its database migration is completed. So demo on-premise succeeded. Okay, so it's finally completed in 6.5 minutes. See the time for 3 rows. Anyways, let's come back and let's see. This is the database what we created, right? Azure Demo DB. Let's check we have the data first. So it is select star from user data. So this is the table and I can see the encrypted information. Okay. So now if I wanted to see the decrypted information, decrypted text, I wanted to see the account numbers, what I have originally before encryption. If you wanted to see that on premises, I can do because I can open up the symmetric key. Okay. And then I can run this information. Okay. It is showing me the original account numbers. But if I try to do this on Azure SQL, first of all, before I do you think it copied our certificates and symmetric keys? That is the one that I need to check, right? So
Yeah.
let's check that. Certificates is the one first that I need to check. I don't have any certificates. There itself we are gone. So coming back to symmetric keys. Symmetric keys, if you see, there is no symmetric key. Without these two, you cannot decrypt your information. You can test this out. If I run this decrypt by key function without opening that symmetric key and
It
certificate,
will not work
so this is what you get. It will not work. Just a second, guys.
because
Someone
it doesn't
is,
have.
it
Yeah,
doesn't have
syntax.
the certificate and symmetric key. It won't work. Just a second. I'm getting a ping from office. Just give me a few seconds. Okay. So this is the problem. So now how can I get the certificate and symmetric key from on-premises? Azure SQL doesn't support any file system. Got my point? I mean, are you understanding the problems that are involved with this kind of databases?
Yes, bro.
Yeah, what should I do now? So that is what I'm going to show you now. So how can I copy my certificate and symmetric key? As I said, there is no video on the internet on this topic. So please pay attention. And if you have questions, shoot at me. I will try to answer them. Okay. The only way to migrate your certificate and symmetric key is, first of all, you have to back up your certificate using the command like backup certificate, certificate name, and then with the private key. Okay, so you have to run this statement. So if you check this statement is something very similar to TDE, right? So I will show you that. Let me check the syntax of backing up the TDE. Backup. Okay, I will just show a TDE backup. Uh, if you check this, okay, so they will say this is the command that I have to make use of, right? They are saying this is about TDE, guys. So we didn't implement TDE. Again, I'm saying, so that is why I'm saying this is a bit complicated topic, but you have to be little, patient with this particular topic because we are going to uh, club different things together, and that's why this is slightly complicated topic. If you see the syntax of TDE database, okay, this is TDE database. How to back up our TDE database? So they are saying backup certificate, the certificate what we created to file, and then with private key and with private key name, and then encryption by password. So we are going to perform the same action. Okay, we are going to perform the same action. Even though this is not TDE enabled database, we have to carry out the same syntax. Watch this syntax, backup certificate, and then the certificate name to file with private key, and then private key file, encryption by password. Exact same syntax to that of TDE. Okay, even though my database is not having any TDE, if I wanted to export my certificate and symmetric key, not symmetric key, certificate, I have to perform this action. Okay, so are you getting this point? So you may have this doubt in your minds, like this is not encrypted database, right? So why are you migrating? Why are you using this syntax? This syntax, because this is the only way that we can migrate our certificate from on-premises to Azure SQL. That is the reason I have to make use of this syntax. Any questions? Again, I'm saying this is not TDE database. This is just column level encryption.
Super.
Okay, so let me proceed. So my certificate name is this one. So I'm using backup certificate name, and then this is the syntax what I'm doing. So I'm copying this. Okay, so I just copied this to C:\SQL. So I have my certificate and private key. So now what I have to do is I have to run this command, the two commands what I'm showing in front of your screen. Okay, so we are opening that certificate and private key using open row set function, and then if you run that function, it will give you that certificate and private key in binary format. Okay, this is a binary format, and you have to make use of these two output in your Azure SQL, on your Azure SQL. So this is the trickiest part, guys. Are you getting now? I mean, the complications. First of all, you cannot migrate your database from on-prem to Azure SQL using any of the techniques because it won't allow you to copy your certificate and symmetric key. If you wanted to copy your certificate and symmetric key, you have to make use of syntax that is similar to TDE database. Okay, that is the second challenge. And after migrating your certificate and private key, you have to make use of open row set function to get that information. Okay, these two are the commands that you have to run. So once you get this output, the one on what you are seeing on my screen, then you have to go and you have to create that inside your user database. I mean, on Azure SQL. So how will you create that? What is the syntax? So that is what I'm going to show you. Let me remove this. I don't need this. And it will not work also. Just I'll show you that part also. So this is very challenging. I worked for almost a day to find out the techniques that is happening behind the scenes. So first thing is I have to create the database master key, and that database master key should have the same password to that of my on-premises. So what is the password that I made use of in on-premises? I think this one, create master key encryption by password. So this is what I made use of. So I am going to create the same one. Okay, create master key encryption by password. So that is what I'm going to create. So this is done. And then I have to create the certificate. So how will I create the certificate now? So that certificate information you have to copy from here. Okay, from here, copy this and then copy this. So this is how you have to create your certificate on Azure SQL. Okay, this is done now. And finally, you have to create your symmetric key. So the same syntax what you made use of on premises. It should be same syntax. Even if you differ that, it won't work. Okay, so let me create that. I didn't make use of this one as I told you, intentionally I didn't do this, and I'm going to create this same certificate. If you see the syntax is same, create symmetric key name with algorithm. You have to focus on algorithm and encryption by certificate. Both are same. And I'm going to run this statement. So finally it is done. And now if I try to run this open symmetric key statement, it should work, but it won't work. I'll show you that also. Okay, and see, again, it is showing as null. We carried out all the steps that are being mentioned on the internet, but it won't work, guys. It won't work. So that is a problem what I faced from past one day. Like I followed all the steps, whatever the steps that are being mentioned in this article. There are only 2 articles on the internet. This is the first one, the best one. So he has mentioned everything. And we have something from SQL Server Central. What is that? I think I kept somewhere. There is one more. Definitely, I checked that also. So almost same steps. So these are only 2 articles that are available on the internet. But if you follow the instructions, whatever that is being mentioned, also it won't work because there is a catch here. So before me explaining about the catch, did you get all the complications? Or I mean, how to copy the certificate now from on-premises to Azure SQL?
Yeah, we need to back up and back.
Backup is fine. I mean, so the
Yeah,
thing is that,
binary.
yeah, this is in binary format. So in
Yeah.
interviews, when you're appearing for interviews, guys, so how will you differ from others? These are the things that makes you differ from others. Okay. Because no one has done these kind of migrations from on-premises to Azure SQL. That is first thing. And I can bet you on this part, only few are aware of this syntax. Because usually you will create certificate from file or from something else. But from primary binary format, I don't think anyone is aware of. I mean, not anyone, most of them are unaware. Okay, so that is why I'm saying this is very difficult, very different, both together. So now, even though we carried out all the steps, it's not working. So I thought like why it is not working despite of following all the steps. Then I realized one thing. Okay, so that one thing is nothing but you have to make use of these 2 fields, identity value and key source, for that to work. Without this, if you create symmetric key, it is not working. So that is the important thing what I noticed as part of my testing. Okay, usually, if you ask me, no one will create identity value and key source at the time of symmetric key creation. So now I got a question for myself. Okay, imagine the same situation happens for you also. The symmetric key is already in place. The certificate is already in place on premises, and they have created the symmetric key without identity value and key source. And now, despite of following all the steps, if you try to create this, it will fail. So what is the thing that I have to do now, right? Are you getting my point?
You need to drop and recreate that.
Yeah, if you need to drop and recreate, so that is one more biggest challenge. So I wonder how will the people carry out this kind of migration in real time? Because I can do this now. I can drop the certificate and I can drop the symmetric key, and then I will create the symmetric key with identity value and it will work. But in real time, with all the data what you have, that too the sensitive information, because account numbers, SSNs or salary or whatever it is, credit cards. So you need to play with that situation. You have to play in that scenario. It's very challenging, very tough. So I'm just wondering what is the solution from Microsoft on this topic without dropping the symmetric key and without using the identity value and key source. Without, I tested every possible thing, but without this, it is not working. So because that is the reason, like when I'm going through this article and the other article on the internet, so they made use of identity key and key value. I was wondering like why they are making use of identity key and key source, because that is not the regular format when we are creating the symmetric key. If you ask me what is a regular format, this is how you will create the symmetric key. It will be just create symmetric key name with algorithm and then encryption by certificate. That is the common syntax and that is the usual syntax people will make use of in real time. No one will come and create with identity value and key source. So even I am stuck here. Okay, I will show you the solution. Like once I will drop the keys and I will show you the creation again. So once we perform that action, it will work. But my biggest challenge is what are the steps that I need to carry out now in real time if I get this kind of scenario? Even I don't have solution apart from dropping for the moment, because I tried all the possibilities without identity value and key source, it's not working. Then if someone wants to decrypt the information on Azure SQL, how can they do? They cannot decrypt it. Even though you are sysadmin, I am sysadmin on this box, but it is of no use. Even though I'm sysadmin, it won't work. Got my point? Okay, let me drop the table and everything, and we will carry out that. And I will show you and how it works. I mean, I have to show you, right? So let me drop everything on premises. So I drop the table, I drop this symmetric key, I drop the certificate, and let me drop this too also. Okay, everything is dropped, and I will drop here also. And then we will see if that works or not. Are you getting my points, guys? Because I'm talking continuously. I didn't get any.
Yes, bro. We are good.
Okay, let me drop this also. Now I'll show you a different way of migrating this using linked server. So just give me a second. Drop table. I think symmetric key is this one.
But the thing will be that in link server, multiple tables will not be there, right? We'll have to create multiple link.
Not multiple tables, multiple databases. Tables, you can work.
Okay.
I'll show you now how to do that with it took 6 minutes, right? As you can see, just to migrate 3 rows, it took 6.5 minutes, 6 minutes, 5 seconds, or else. Okay, now I'll show you the same thing. Let me drop the master key also. I want everything to be fresh. Okay, done. So now I'm going to create it again, but this time when I'm creating the data, I mean, when I'm creating the symmetric key, I'm going to make use of identity value and key source. So let me run this. Create table. I think I didn't drop the master key, so it can be there. Certificate. And this time I'm creating with identity value and key source. And let me encrypt this. It looks fine. Okay. And now I can drop that column. That is done. Okay. Now I need to copy my data from on-premises to Azure SQL using linked server. I would like to go with the linked server. So I will create the linked server now. I already have two linked servers. If you see here, I already have on-prem to Azure SQL and on-prem to Azure SQL DB2. As I said, we require separate linked servers to each and every database on Azure SQL if you wanted to pump the data or read the data. Doesn't matter if you wanted to insert or if you wanted to read, you have to create separate linked server for each and every DB. It's not like what we do on-premises or IaaS or MI, because Azure SQL is database as a service. It's not instance as a service. Okay, now I'm going to create a new linked server. So I'll say demo link, and I need to provide the linked SQL server name, logical server, I mean to say. So copy this one. And here I need to provide the database name. Without providing this, it won't work. Again, I'm saying without providing this, it won't work because each database is different on Azure SQL. So mine is as AZ demo DB. Okay. And then I have to make use of SQL login, SQL authentication only. It cannot work with any other stuff. Okay. It is done now. So what I will do is I will try to create the table structure. So this is the table structure. So I will try to create this on AZ demo DB. So I'm just creating the structure. I mean schema. So I'm creating the schema. That is done. And now I need to populate via data via linked server. So what is the linked server name? Demo link. Insert into linked server name, which is demo link. Database name AZ demo DB. AZ demo DB. Table name is okay, user data. And this is the source table. Select source data column names from source table. So I'm going to insert 3 rows now. So 3 rows got inserted. We can check that. Select start from user data. See, even linked server will work if you wanted to pump the data from on-premises to Azure SQL. It will work perfectly fine. And I will show you one more important thing also with linked servers and how it helps. Don't worry, that will be in our next class. So we got the information. It took just a second, right? Here, it just took a second for me to copy the data. Here it took 6 minutes, 5 seconds. That is the difference, guys. Okay, now we got the data. Again, the same steps. I have to back up my certificate, and then I have to get that binary format thing. So before that, I have to create the certificate, master key. So this is the one. It's created. And now I need to copy that syntax. I need to replace certificate here and private key at the bottom. First one is certificate. Second one is private key. And delete. Okay, so I think I'm okay. So let me try to run this create certificate statement. Done. And now I have to create the symmetric key, but this time I have to make use of same fields, identity value and key source should be same to that of on-premises. And then I have to create the certificate. Okay, it got created. And finally, I need to check the data. So let's open this and see if that works. There you go. Getting? Got the point?
Yes, sir. Or here, identity value key source you've given Rajendra Gupta and lab environment. We can change that values
Anything you want, anything you want. Okay, this is just for testing,
without
but without
data.
identity value and key source, it is not working. That is the biggest headache what I had from past 2 days. I tried all the different options. Without identity value and key source, it is not working. So my point is in real time, already the databases will be there. That is the first thing. Already databases will be there. Already symmetric key will be there. And that symmetric key we will never create symmetric key with identity value and key source. For sure, I can say that. Out of 100 databases, if you take at least maybe 1 or 2 databases may have identity value and key source. when it comes to creation of symmetric key. But I bet you on this part, 98 other databases will not have identity value and key source. If that is the case, if I wanted to migrate those 98 databases from on-prem to Azure SQL, what should I do now? Why that dependency is there? That is the question what I have. And I think I don't know who can answer this part. If you want, you can test this out in your environments without identity value and key source. And if it works, let me know. Because I tried almost all the possibilities, it's not working. Okay. So any questions with this topic?
Yep. Hi, Vamsi.
Hmm.
Uh, Actually, I have not worked much on encryption, but I just need to understand like the purpose of identity value and key source, and also if we implement, I mean, if we execute that on on-prem, so like will have any other impact on that? Like,
Thing is that the encryption, I mean, you will have already the data with you, right? Your
yes,
SSNs or credit card, whatever, it is already
correct.
encrypted. And now, if I wanted to migrate that database without this identity value and key source, it's not happening. Means I have to drop that uh, symmetric key, drop that certificate. I mean, you don't need to drop the certificate. At least you need to drop the symmetric key, and then you have to create symmetric key with that identity
With
value, and
identity
then
value.
encrypt your data. So, do you think this really works in real time? I mean, just imagine that the table is very critical.
Yeah, exactly. It won't. No one will allow
Yeah,
to
no
do
one will
this
allow you to
operation.
do this operation. So then you have to go to Azure SQL because business is pushing you. Then what will you do as a DBA now?
Correct. Oh,
I don't have any answer for this. That is what I'm saying. I tried all the different possibilities, but none of them is working. I tried with different, you won't believe, I made use of some other different techniques. Okay, let me show you that. I think rambling.net. Rambling. Okay, let me search my history. In the history, you can find it.
okay.
Rambling. Something is there. Ramble, RM, um, column level encryption, right? So I'll go with encryption. Uh, that. Not this one, not today, right? So June 5th, June 5th, not here, June 3rd. This is one more thing. I told you, right? There is one more article on internet. Only two articles what
Correct.
I could find. Can you see this? I'll show you. Can you see this key source and identity value?
Yes.
Everyone, I mean, the only two articles what I made use of. So those two articles are saying the same thing, key source, but they didn't talk anything with respect to key source and identity value. Why we need them and what is their important when we are doing this kind of activity. They didn't mention anywhere.
Okay.
I
Okay.
need to go through now. I maybe I need to ask someone from Microsoft like why it is required and is there any other solution apart from using key source and identity value. If I'm going to create a new database, definitely since I know I will create it with identity and key source value,
Yeah,
but that will not be the case in real time.
exactly. For like the new tables, I mean, new
Yeah,
data, we can do that, but
we
for
can do that.
existing, we can't.
We can't do
Yeah.
anything. We're gone.
Yeah.
Anyways, so that is the topic what I have. Just before I wind up, any questions on this topic? I know most of you might not be able to digest this because everything is very new and few things are a bit complicated also. I do understand that because even for me, at the time of working on this demo, it took a lot of time. So I tried the possibilities, but it's not working. Okay, no question. So before I move off, I would like to show you one sample demo. I will continue this in the next class. A simple search query. Okay, a simple search query where I'm finding the data between two date ranges, start date and end date. So I will start from the scratch. Nothing is there inside the cache now. Plain
So,
database, nothing.
so,
Yeah.
Vamsi, I shared an article so that where they are creating the other key with that They are not dropping, but they're creating the new one.
Yeah,
The
they are
same
creating the
column.
new one. They're creating the new one. So I
Yeah.
think both are same. SQL Server Central, that's same thing. What I'm referring also.
Okay.
Same thing. Here in this scenario, they got a different requirement, something different than our general requirements. But again, forget about this article. Just think about our situation, the normal situation, what we can face, right? So that is the problem. I will try to see if there is any solution without using key source and identity value. I will see that. It is very interesting for me. I didn't dig. Of course, I tried with a lot of options, but none of the options work for me. I will see if there is any other solution. Okay. So before I close this session, I will take just 5 minutes. Can you see this query? Just a search criteria between start date and end date. Okay. I'm going to run this for a smaller date range. And if you see, it is instantaneous. I got the plan, seek and key lookup. Okay. Focus on the estimated number of rows. As you can see, the estimated number of rows is 22. Okay. Estimated number of rows is 22. But now I'm passing a wider date range, means to entire 2018 data. Here I'm just passing for one day, June 1st, and that too between 9 and 9:30. So that is the reason I got 34 rows, actual rows, and SQL Server estimated 22 rows. Absolutely fine. So now if I run this for bigger data range, so what will happen? Obviously, it took more time rather than 1 second, which is instantaneous. So now it is taking 4 seconds. And even if you see, there are fat lines coming out from seek and key lookup. And you see SQL just estimated 22 rows, but in reality, I got 6,046, 600, okay, 6,46,000, something like 6 lakhs or 646,000. Okay. So why SQL Server is using the same plan? Why didn't it create a new plan for this new search date ranges? Why this is happening?
Parameter snipping.
Exactly. So because of parameter sniffing, whatever the plan that goes first, it sits in the cache, and SQL Server will try to make use of same plan irrespective of the data ranges what you pass. Okay. So the first query, since it went into the what is that plan cache, so it is instantaneous, 0 seconds, very fast and super quick. But the same query, if it goes with bigger data range, so it is taking time, 4 seconds or 5 seconds, whatever it is. So this is happening because of parameter sniffing. Okay. Now, what if I turn off this option? There is something called as, I'll show you. You do remember, right? I can see the estimated number of rows is 22. Just remember the estimated number of rows. I don't worry about actual number of rows. So now if I turn off the parameter sniffing, which will be default on, okay, for all your databases, parameter sniffing will be on, And what, as a DBA, I thought parameter sniffing is causing an issue, okay. So I tried to turn off the parameter sniffing. I thought, okay, parameter sniffing is the issue. So I would like to turn off the parameter sniffing for this database. So that is the reason we have something called as database scoped configuration. And now let me free this cache again and I'll run this. Okay, this is fast as usual. And now I am running the second query, which took 4 seconds in general. So now if I am running this, it took 1 second only compared to 4 seconds. And if you see the execution plan, we didn't get seek and key lookup. We got different plan. And even for the first query, which was supposed to get seek and key lookup, is now coming up with cluster index scan. Okay. So now if you see the estimated number of rows from 22 rows, it got increased to 2,21,000 all of a sudden. Why my estimated number of rows got changed from 22 to 2,21,000 even for the top query and for the bottom query as well? Same thing, 2,21,914. That is the first question. Just think for yourself. Second thing is, if you turn off the parameter sniffing off, do you think it will help us with the performance issues, especially with parameter sniffing? As you can see here, the query was taking 4 seconds and now it ran in 1 second. what will happen?
Yeah. First question answer is instead of fetching the value from histogram, it will fetch the value from density vector.
Okay. If I turn off the parameter sniffing, that's what you are saying, right?
Yes.
Okay. Second question, like, do you think turning off the parameter sniffing value will help you to overcome your performance issues, especially with the parameter sniffing issue? Right? So think about that. I will stop here. Okay, I will continue. I'll show you the demos on this topic as well. Okay, so think about that. Like, what will happen if you turn off the parameter sniffing? Do you think it benefits or it causes some problems or it negates the performance? Just think about it. I will show you a few demos on that topic as well. What you said is right. It will fetch the values from density vectors. That is the reason you are seeing 2,21,000 for both the queries. Whereas in reality, if I go with parameter sniffing on, it is just 22 rows. So let me show you again. So I am turning it on back again. Okay, if I run this query again, so it is going back with seek and key lookup with just 22 rows. And again, this guy will take 4 seconds from 1 second to 4 seconds. And it will show you as 22 rows. Again, the estimated number of rows will be 22, but in reality, I'm getting 646 something, some bigger number.
Yeah, for second question, it will improve the performance of queries for skewed data.
So your answer is right, but in reality, we need to test this. Okay, there is no definitive answer whether it improves the performance or not. There is no definitive answer for this. But you have to watch out for skewed data. That is one thing. And the criteria, what you are using inside your queries. Is it single search criteria or is it between multiple conditions? There are many things again. So a bit more complicated topic, but I'm stopping here. I will explain this in the upcoming classes, but are you getting the things, guys? So, I mean, these things are not that easy to digest. Like Azure SQL or even this small performance issue, what you are seeing on my screen. Both are very deep subject. I mean, we have to talk very internally. Many things are involved in this. So that is the reason I'm stopping here, even that is 5:30 for me. Any questions? I will upload this session in the public mode, so you can watch it straight away. Any questions with this topic? Are you enjoying it, first of all?
Yeah, I'm saying. You have just shown us like encryption on colon and TD, right? So any
No, this is not
transport
TD.
layer
Again, I'm
security.
saying this is not
Okay, so
TD.
no,
Yeah,
no, colon level
exactly.
encryption. I'm
Yeah.
saying, yeah. So I'm saying any class on network level security like TLS or SSL.
TLS I
You
already
have
took.
any?
TLS is already there.
Okay,
I made use of IIS
okay,
crypto tool to generate that scenario. Like you will get some error, right? Certificate is not issued. Something is there. So I made use
okay,
of IIS crypto. That session is already there. If you want,
okay,
you can check my channel. Just a second. SSL I cannot show you up because I cannot get the certificate from Verizon or some other trusted sites, right?
mm-hmm,
So that is not possible to show up. SSL is not
mm-hmm.
possible. But that what you said, TLS is it's there. I
Yeah,
think it is
TLS.
there in interview questions part 10. Just let me show you.
Mm-hmm.
Interview questions part 10. Something is, yeah, in this I've shown TLS.
Okay,
It is here.
okay,
You asked
okay.
me the
Thank you.
topic.
I
I think it's almost there
Yeah,
because I made
okay.
190 videos. It's not 1 or 2 videos. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
huge content, and you will get almost
Yeah.
everything. All the complicated buckets will sit here. Anyway, so I
Mm-hmm.
need to move on, guys. So thanks for joining the session. I think one question, what is that? Using density info. That's true. So I'll stop here and I'll upload it, and I will try to see the solution for our problem, Azure SQL column level encryption. If there is nothing, then we need to raise a case with Microsoft, like why it is required. Thanks for joining.
Thanks, Anshul.
Thank you.
Thank you.